Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the John Gaunt podcast. Breaking news today, which is why I'm doing this earlier. Nigel Farage has vowed to scrap the Human Rights Act. He's vowed to pull Britain out of the ECHR, and he's going to have mass deportations of illegal immigrants. Is this the bold plan that British people needs, or is it a step too far? I love this note I got on Twitter from one of my listeners. He says, Carlos, Farage is the only one trying to resolve real issues. The rest are trying to resolve Farage. What do you think about that? Where do you stand? Have you now got a politician who's giving you what you want? Has the deportation plan just won Nigel Farage and Reform UK the next general election? Is Labour's Starmer now toast? I need your views, and I need them now. Let's have your opinion, please. Has he just won the election with this deportation plan? Have Reform UK pulled off the impossible? What state is UK politics in? And during this next half hour, you and I are going to discuss this. Is Keir Starmer finished? Is it right to pull out of the ECHR? How does this tie into the Raise the Flag campaign? All the flags going up all over the UK at the moment, and the migrant crisis at Dover and in all the hotels. Because let's face it, Britain is boiling over. Over 700,000 illegal migrants in the UK, and that's if you're taking a conservative view of it. We've got taxpayer-funded migrant hotels bankrupting us and sparking furious protests. And of course, the Raise the Flag campaign is sweeping the country. And now Farage from Reform UK drops a political bombshell. And it seems like it's quite a worked out plan, because the BBC and all the mainstream media are getting well upset. He's upsetting all the right people. I watched the conference this morning and I couldn't find anything in it to complain about. He's no longer going to turn back the boats. He doesn't think that's the way to do it. He's saying if you provide a massive deterrent, which is you're not going to stay, and the moment you come in illegally, you'll never be able to go to apply for British citizenship, he thinks that'll turn off the tap. I think he's right. So his plan, in shorthand, is this: scrap the Human Rights Act. Hooray! He's going to have our own human rights, something I've agreed with for ages. He wants us to be out of the European Commission of Human Rights, the ECHR, something again I've been calling for. You may disagree. And he wants to deport at least tens of thousands of illegals immediately. He is going to offer some of them a cash incentive, i.e. take this $2,500 and we'll pay you airfare, go now, or we'll track you down and we'll take you later. Why is he paying them? Evidently cheaper to pay them $2,500 than spend the best part of $20,000 having to physically deport them. Keir Starmer, meanwhile, I think he's back from his holidays later today. Don't know why he needed a holiday, but he's repeatedly vowed, and all his little followers, his little Starmers, are vowing all over telly to keep Britain in the ECHR. Well, that's an election winner, isn't it? Public anger is exploding. Is this the moment Nigel Farage takes the crown? If you think so, tell me now in the comments underneath. Is Starmer already toast? We're live. There's no spin, no filter. Join in and have your say. So we're talking about Farage, Reform UK, the state of British politics, immigration, illegal migration, the migrant hotels, of course, and the Human Rights Act and the ECHR. Where are you on these subjects? Apologies again for the show being earlier than normal. I've got something which I can't get out of tonight. You can watch it, of course, on repeat. That's the wonder of podcasts and the YouTube and the rest of it. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, why don't you do it now? Are you also laughing at the way the MSM, the mainstream media, are reacting to this news? They're trying to trash it and saying it won't work. Well, welcome to my show. It is the John Gaunt Show. Today, the political landscape has been shaken to its core because none of those mainstream politicians have got an answer to what Farage has said, because they know the majority of the country agree with the Reform UK leader. Britain needs change. Nigel Farage and Reform UK have just unveiled this new thing called Operation Restoring Justice. It's basically a plan to scrap, as I say, the Human Rights Act, take Britain out of the European Convention on Human Rights, and launch mass deportations of illegal migrants. We know there's at least 700,000 of these in the UK. We know that the best part of 1,000 came over the bank holiday weekend. Since Starmer's been in power, there's 53,000, 36,000 of which are in hotels, costing us at least 5 million quid a day. This is unsustainable. It can't continue. Are you with me or against me? So Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, has made it clear he will never take Britain out of the ECHR. Never. That's what he said. But that's the thing I believe the British people want. So is this the turning point? Could this be the moment that defines Britain's future? Stay tuned. Join in. Live, unfiltered. We're taking your opinions seriously. And maybe you just want to type in a message slagging off the MSM. That's fine by me. The whole political establishment and their lovers in the mainstream media don't know which way to turn. Let's take some comments straight away, and then I'll talk more about my agenda. Julie Hamilton, reform is England's only hope, she says on Facebook. I agree with you. It took me a long time to come around to it, but after seeing him today, I thought his performance today as well was measured, controlled, sensible. Because he's, some idiots are going, oh, deport all Muslims. Why do you want to do that? Well, even if they're born in this country, if they commit a crime, different subject. But no, we don't need to just target one community. Not all the people who are coming in illegally are Muslims anyway. The bottom line is we just need to stop people coming here illegally. It's quite simple. Greece have done it. United States of America have done it. And now Farage wants to do it here. And I'll tell you the funniest thing today. People were saying, well, you'll have to wait 4 years. And Farage just looked, cocked an eyebrow and said, you think they'll last 4 years? They're not going to. Starmer is toast. Do you agree? Pip Tomlinson, I think all illegals should be taken to an island in Scotland, put in a marquee with bunk beds, given soup and heating, and let's say how long it takes for them to regret their decisions and go home. Pip, I don't think we need to be that harsh, but I know where you're coming from. I know he's thinking of using Ascension Island if we need to. And people today are now trying to knock it. I just had a bloke on Twitter saying, what if the country won't take them back? Well, if the country won't take them back, they're going to be locked up, or they're going to be sent away on a plane or a boat to Rwanda. Do you remember that scheme that Starmer scrapped on day one and the floodgates opened? They'll go to Rwanda. They'll go to Ascension Island, and they can think about their future there. But then Farage is offering them a deal. 2.5 grand, we'll send you back. You go. If they don't go, then that's their problem. And people are also saying, what about children? What about unaccompanied children? What about women? Well, as 93% of all the people living in these homes of multiple occupation or living the life of luxury in 4-star hotels are men, single men of fighting age. I don't think we have to worry about that too much. But of course we'll be humane. We're the United Kingdom, for God's sake. We're not some banana republic. Where's this next? Starmer needs a permanent holiday. I'm not going to disagree with you, Phil Valencia on Facebook. Notice how the MSM showed concern for the illegals, but not for the women and children of this country. It's despicable. You're so right, Si. They were straight on to that menu, weren't they? Straight on to that agenda. What about the women and children? What about the women and children who are being raped, sexually assaulted? There's a case today. We can't talk about it. What about the case in Nuneaton? We can't talk about it. But there's cases all over the country. That doesn't mean that every illegal is a rapist or a crook, but we don't know because we don't know who they are. How much longer can this madness go on? 2,000 people by the end of today, probably, or certainly by the end of the week. It can't continue. We have to stop it, and we have to have harsh methods to stop it. And I believe that Farage, there he is, I think he's hit it right on the head. Jackie Ward, regular listener on Facebook, says, I love listening to Farage this morning. He was saying what I wanted to hear. Roll on a general election. I can't wait to get rid of Android Starmer. That's a great way of describing him. The problem is, Jackie, we don't have to wait 4 years. If we keep increasing the pressure. I mean, there was all the protests this weekend. I don't condone any violence, by the way, but I believe the women and the girls and the daughters of places like Epping, Nuneaton, have an absolute right to protest. I was listening to the Subdac case that's in the court today. I mean, this bloke was, well, I've got to be careful. I won't say it, but it's unbelievable if you listen to it. These people, I'm going to say something now that some people will find unpalatable. Some of the people are coming from cultures, nations and countries that are basically backward in their opinions and their views on women and on gays and on lesbians and the rest of it. That's why I always laugh my duck off when you get these uber liberal lesbians or homosexuals saying queers for Palestine. You wouldn't be saying that when you're on top of a tower block. It's just ludicrous. You cannot fix other people's roofs in the winter when your own roof is leaking. We need a government that's going to put Britain first and British people first, which Starmer has not done. We need a government that will protect the British people, especially our daughters, our wives, our sisters, our mums, our girlfriends, our significant others. They should not feel scared walking the streets. It's bad enough in Starmer's Britain and indeed in Rishi's Britain that there aren't enough coppers. We've got enough homegrown crime. We don't need to import any more. Are you with me or against me? Hi, John. I think Farage is the only other option to get rid of Labour. The only other option is the only option. But Labour are doing everything they can to get rid of themselves. Tim Clark on Facebook says, I'm with you. Phil Valencia, as Trump has shown clearly, take away the funding and it all comes crashing down. Well said, my friend. Talking about funding, if you'd like to help me out, today's a cut-off day for buy me a coffee, buymeabeer.com. Tuesday is always the day where they sort of draw the line, and that's the most you're going to get for this week. So if you want to help me out, go to www.buymeacoffee.com, all one word, /John Gaunt, all one word, and donate anything from a £5. Lots of you have been doing it. It's so good of you. Thank you. It helps me survive, and it helps develop the podcast. www.buymeacoffee.com /John Gaunt, or otherwise, click on the little dollar sign at the bottom of this YouTube video and donate anything that you want. Some people are putting a couple of quid. Some people are putting 100 quid. Whatever you think this is worth, please contribute. We need the independent media like we've never known it before. I like this one. Joseph Rivera. If you're not watching it, if you're listening, you won't know what he's done. He's put a load of thumbs up and a load of flags. Superb. Starmer will go down as the worst and the most hated prime minister in the history of this great country. I think you're right. He's an absolute idiot. And then we'll just have this one before I go to more of my agenda. Songs of Life by Mel Plant says, we have to trust Farage because he is our last stand. I agree with you. You want to comment? Feel free. Let's have your views now. Right. Let's talk about the key points of what the plan is. It's to scrap the Human Rights Act entirely. Not strictly true. He's going to scrap it, and then we're going to have our own Bill of Rights, which I think is a brilliant idea. In that, we could enshrine freedom of speech. So then maybe we wouldn't get another Lucy Connolly case. I think that's a great idea. Now, Nigel said, excuse me, that he's got lawyers working on this already so they can hit the ground running. Let's hope he has. Because you can't leave this to the civil service, because the civil service are part of the swamp. They're part of the rainbow laces, community action. Let's all be lovey-dovey. Stop oil. Let's glue ourselves to the pavement brigade. No, no, no. It's got to be done by independent lawyers. Withdraw from the ECHR to bypass court blocks on deportations. Superb. Because at the moment, our bewigged buffoons, although they don't wear their wigs, evidently in immigration courts, but the bewigged buffoons, the judiciary, think they're above our parliament. Now, our parliament's got lots of problems, but we should be making the laws. They enact it, but they keep interfering and using usually foreign laws, usually European laws, to undermine what our democratically elected government want to do. We need to get out of the ECHR. It's simple. It's easy. Very simple. We send a letter saying we're getting out, and then we get out. And some people are saying, oh, it needs to be 6 months' notice. Oh, yeah? Really? Watch. What did Greece do? America's not in it, but what did America do? He just got on with it. Where there's a political will, there's a way. Farage is also going to create a UK deportation command, and he's going to use military resources. He's going to use all the old army camps, like I've been suggesting. But when he puts them in an army camp, instead of putting them in a hotel or a camp as he is doing at the moment, or as they are doing at the moment, where they're free to come and go, get a job with Deliveroo, get themselves a bike. No, no, no. They're going to be locked up like Kevin Hurley suggested, like Ben Habib suggested, like I've suggested, and like most of my guests want, behind barbed wire. Still nice little place to live, but not full of squeezy soap. The idea being that you'd rather go home, because that's what we want. Because remember, these people, on the whole, are criminals. If they're not, if they actually have got a right to stay, we'll find that out by having very quick tribunals. And then hundreds of thousands of others will be removed. And Farage says that will start from the beginning. He says, and this is the quote, this is about taking back control. Critics call it tearing up human rights. But they would, wouldn't they? Because they're making money out of it. What are your views on this? Let's have them. Just write them down and I'll read them out, and it'll all fuel our debate today. Where are we going next? Carl Eves, he's one of my regular watchers and listeners. I thought Nigel did a good job today. I did as well. I thought it was measured and it was statesmanlike, wasn't it? I was impressed with his announcements. I'd go a bit further, John. All those granted asylum under the Tories and Labour should have their claims reassessed. If they are refused, then they should be deported also. Most of them, I suspect, would have been vexatious claims. Carl, I understand where you're coming from, but I disagree entirely. The job is massive already. What's happened has happened. We have to just accept that. That's the world. You know this, Carl. You used to be a copper. That's the real world. What we need to do is concentrate on having this massive deterrence. I think overnight, if we did what Greece said, it happened in 2 weeks in Greece. You come to one of our islands or come to the Greek mainland and you ain't got a passport, you're going to prison. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200 and do not pick up any squeezy soap. That was my bit. If you come and you have got identification, you're going to be sent straight back because we didn't invite you. You're illegal. You're breaking into our country. That's a crime, despite what the uber liberals say. Within 2 weeks, numbers dropped off. Look what's happened on the southern border of the United States. It's down by 97%. We've got to tell these people the UK is not El Dorado. No way. The streets are not paved with gold. You are not going to come and get a job with Deliveroo. And we should clamp down on companies like that who have been exploiting the migrants and exploiting us. Agree? Disagree? Carl, feel free to come back if you want. That's the whole idea of the show. It'd be great to see the back of Starmer as he enters prison. He's too clever for that, Joseph Rivera, but I understand your frustration. August Moore, rooting out radical Islam is the second most important thing to do after reforming the asylum system. No, the second most important thing is the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs, and I would suggest law and order, my friend. I know where you're coming from about radical Islam. I don't think that's as big a problem as it used to be. It's still a problem. I'm not saying it's not. The bleeding hearts need their heads read. I don't know if I'd read them. I might throw the book across the floor if you follow what I'm saying. Brilliant. 13 likes. If you're enjoying the show, please press the like button. It really helps the algorithm. If you're listening on a podcast later or watching this video later, don't forget you can join. It's called subscribe to the John Gaunt TV channel on YouTube. Just look for John Gaunt. A pop-up appears as soon as you click on it. It's free. You'll never be charged to be part of that. You can then look at all the archive of videos and the podcast. You'll never be bored again. So you can do whatever you want. That is free. So join, subscribe to John Gaunt TV. Loads of you did it over the weekend. And the more who subscribe, obviously, the more penetration we'll get with this on the algorithm. Cy Hat says, I wanted Nigel to address the issue of those already granted indefinite leave to remain. What's to stop the government waving them all in? That's what they're doing to shorten the backlog. Well, I did mention this at the weekend, Si. I don't know if you heard my show yesterday. I think he's going to Starmer in the next few weeks before this announcement today, which I thought will have probably have caught him on the back foot. But Starmer was going to, Yvette Cooper called it, making it easier to assess the claims and deport people. What she meant was making it easier so they could accept more people quicker. They want an amnesty. They want to let everyone in. Well, not everyone, but as many as possible. That's the easiest way to solve the problem. Look at the way they're lying at the moment. Oh, the hotel bill's down. Yeah, the hotel bill might be down a bit, but what about the houses of multiple occupation? Oh, we've sent back 30,000. No, you haven't actually. You sent back 30,000 of people who wanted to go. Well, most of them, 5,000 of them wanted to go. You've done jack shit about Dover, what people want and what you're failing to see. And it must be deliberate because you're not that thick, are you, Starmer? Well done. You're not that stupid. You're doing it deliberately. It is Mandelson and Blair rubbing our noses in diversity. Well, we don't want this kind of diversity. We don't want men who think it's okay to ask little girls, 12-year-olds, for a kiss. We don't think it's okay for men who think it's okay to put their hands up the back of women's skirts. We don't want that in our country. We've moved on from that years ago. We don't want people who want to throw homosexuals off buildings or that lesbians need stoning to death. We don't want wives who have an affair. We don't want any of these people. We don't want them. Do you know why? Because they're culturally backward. That's what they are. That's the word. And they don't want to assimilate into our lifestyle. That's not to say there can't be good people amongst them. I'm sure there are. Apply in the correct way then. Come through the proper channels. Unless you are fleeing genuine prosecution, which, of course, you're not. The majority aren't. And the uber liberals and the lamestream media and the BBC in particular still want you to think that. I don't know if you saw one of my tweets yesterday. I was watching the BBC News. I nearly kicked the telly in, right? Then I went online to read the story. It's still there on their website. And it's about a woman or bloke who'd come from Tanzania. Well, last time I looked, Tanzania is a safe country. But he definitely came through 7 countries that were obviously safe. France, I don't want to live there myself, but it's a safe country. Then they interviewed another woman, and she was from Tanzania. And she had some mistakes or mishaps in her procedure. And it was like over a year or 2 years. Why didn't they interview one of the blokes sticking the V's up out of the bloody hotels? Will they not talk to you, BBC? I guess they won't. Well, why don't you talk to one of the people on the Deliveroo bikes, offer them a tip and get their story? No, you don't want that because you know they're economic migrants and you know that doesn't fit the BBC narrative. The BBC, you can quote me on this, is the Lord Haw-Haw of this whole campaign. They're the propaganda merchants trying to make you and I feel bad. What about the kids? What about the mums? What about the wives? What about our fucking mums and wives and daughters and sisters and children? The first duty of any government is the protection of its people. Listen, I want us always to be protecting of the people. Look what we did with Kenya. Look what we did with the Ukraine even, although it's gone on too long. Look what we did with Hong Kong, Uganda. We will always be a safe haven. We will always be that. Don't make out we're being racist. We just cannot have 1 million illegals living in our country. We just can't. It has to stop, and it has to stop now. And at least now, at last, Nigel Farage has done it. He said the unspeakable. Will he actually do it when he gets in power? He's going to get in power. I'll bet you any money. Graham Fletcher says, not convinced Farage will get enough candidates to win an election. What do you think, John? I think you're a moaning old tart, Graham. And I sorry, but I do. I think you've got to look on the positive. It's already got all the candidates. Of course he'll get enough candidates. Whether they'll win is a different question, but I think they will, because I think the mood of the country is at a trigger point. That's what I think. I haven't seen much negativity to what he said this morning. People realise we've got to change, and people realise they had that idiot on from the Lib Dems giving his views on it. It's just irrelevant. Just irrelevant. Well done to Farage, I say. Connor Stannage, tell you what, Gaunty, we need a strong leader who's willing to ignore the woke brigade, dismiss the loony lefties, and ostracise the crafty human rights lawyers. Get all those invaders out now. Thank you very much indeed for your very strong opinion. Afternoon, John, says Steve on YouTube. Nigel Farage is now the right man to lead our country. But we have at least 3 years of this Labour government, unless there's a way to give the government a vote of no confidence. It doesn't work like that. The Conservatives could have stayed in power if they want. If they become so unpopular, it becomes impossible to govern. It only needs some more defections, and there will be defections. I saw Kevin Fletcher, the guy I interviewed, the ex-immigration minister, on GB News this weekend. He all but said, I'm going to go with reform. He said, no, I'm a Conservative. But he was basically saying what had been leaked out about reform's plans, he was backing. People have had enough. Ever since Blair, ever since Mandelson, and that creep, Alistair Campbell, who is still a media figure, don't ask me why, lied to us and deceived to us, took us into wars we didn't want to go into, shouldn't have gone into, and then flooded the country with Eastern Europeans without our say-so, never once having a debate about it. We had to fight tooth and nail to get a bloody referendum on Brexit. Then when we voted for it, the vast majority, what happened? The establishment blob tried to stop it happening or wanted another vote. That's their idea of democracy in our great country. These people make me vomit. What about you? So, 700,000 plus illegal migrants reported in the UK. That's if you take the mainstream media's view. I say it's more like 1 million. Taxpayer-funded hotels are costing millions every day of the week. These new raise the flag, raise the colours rallies are spreading nationwide. And there's massive anger. I wrote frustration. It's not frustration, it's anger over the small boats crossings. Have you put a flag up? If you have, why and where? Tell me. Starmer as well. He, as an individual, has a sort of focal point for our anger. Well, he's that because of his repeated promises to keep the UK in the ECHR. He thinks it's sacrosanct. He thinks it's what makes us human and democratic and all the other bollocks that he comes out with. We wanted to be out of Europe, and I think most people wanted to be out of the ECHR. And human rights laws, yes, we want human rights. We don't want people terrorised because of their sexuality or the colour of their skin or any of that. Of course we don't want that. But it's all gone too far. Labour's criticism of inhumane deportation policies. Of course, he was the figurehead of that when I was director of public prosecutions. Jimmy Savile never came across my desk. That's him. Do you remember when he goes on about that? He actually, I think he probably believes in open borders. And I say, if you're a country and you haven't got a border, well, you ain't a country. And then I wrote here, ask them, is he out of step with public opinion? It's the most stupid question in the world. It's 11%, isn't it, his approval ratings at the moment? So here's my question to you. Do you believe Keir Starmer's refusal to leave the ECHR shows real leadership? Does it show he's got a pair? Or does it show complete and utter weakness? Is it the work of a man who's got less spine than a blancmange? Let me know in the chat, please. Oh, I'm on fire today. Let's take some more of your comments. 200 people watching live just on YouTube at the moment. Thank you very much indeed for that. Let me just... I've just lost my bloody place. Yeah, wait a minute. Who's this? Somebody's just donated 10 quid. Star Taylor, you are a star. He's just donated £10 on YouTube via that little dollar button. If you would like to donate, it doesn't have to be a 10, it could be a couple of quid. Feel free to do it now. Star, you are a star. Thank you very much indeed. I'm just trying to get some comments that we haven't read. Hang on. Does anyone think we need Boris Johnson compared to Starmer? Laugh out loud. Alan, no, that's another step back. We need to look forward. We need to be on this horse with our vision in blinkers, just looking straight and just thinking for Britain. We need no reverse gears at all. I found it really interesting when Farage said Labour won't last another 4 years. Yeah, I did. I laughed, Mel. This is Mel Plant. He's already on the campaign trail by the look of it. Sooner Nigel's PM, the better. Correct. It was the starting gun in the election today, to a certain extent. And I thought Zia Youssef, I thought he did well today as well. Andy George, he says, Starmer is toast, Farage is the future. I thought it was garlic bread, but it's a joke. Elon Musk has posted the long George flag all over his X account. Has he really? He's a wind-up merchant, he is. But he owns it. He can do what the hell he likes. It doesn't go far enough for me because it'll only work out at 600,000. Denise Ferriol, what fucking planet, love, are you on? You don't think it'll make a difference? 600,000 illegals being booted out of the country. Come on. Credit where credit's due. I know you might be a Ben Habib follower. You might be a Rupert Lowe follower. I don't know. But sometimes you've got to be pragmatic. You're not on your own. Other people are saying similar things. But Denise, I think you're totally and utterly wrong. But thank you for your opinion. Laird Barkin says, make barbed wire great again. I like that. Did you notice how all the media questions were focused on what if an illegal immigrant is returned to a country where they're not safe? Nothing about the safety of British citizens here. Yes, I did, Matthew. Do you know why? Because the British establishment media, and I know I used to work both for the BBC and I worked for the biggest newspaper in the world. It's stuff full of journalists and people who want to be politicians. And they don't want to be right-wing politicians. They want to be lefties. So, of course, they asked that question. So they asked this question about, well, would you send them back to Afghanistan? Interestingly, just after Farage's press conference, Starmer said, yeah, we're going to do a deal with the Taliban as well. You've got, like I just said to Denise, you've got to be pragmatic. I'll give the money to anyone who took them. And I'm sorry. If people think it's wrong for us to send somebody back to a country where they might get tortured, I don't want that. Of course I don't. But I can't think about that over and above the safety of British people. You fix your own roof if it's raining before you fix anybody else's. And I'm afraid they could have thought about that as they came through the 6 or 7 other safe countries. No, they wanted to come here. Why? A job with Deliveroo and a nice bike to cycle around on. Young girls to ask, can I have a kiss? and then assault them. That's what they came for. Some of them. And I'm sorry, I don't buy it that most of them are fleeing persecution. They're not. Most of them, and I admire them and respect them. They're coming to better themselves. I'd probably do the same. But we can't have them all in the country. We got to put our own people first. And just going back to what Matthew Davis says, this thing about them going back to another country where they're not safe, that won't be the majority, will it? That'll be the minority, which, of course, we should think about. Hi, John. I'm sorry, I haven't been watching or comment because I found my dad in his home last weekend. I've been trying to find his family. Well, okay, Craig, you get on with that. Honestly, you shouldn't be here telling me. I don't mean that in a nasty way. You need to just concentrate on that. Get on with it. Matthew Davis again. Farage looked like a PM in waiting to me this morning. Keep up the great work, Gaunty. Thank you, Matthew. I will. You keep up the great donations. And if you haven't made one yet, start today. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, God. Bloody hot in here today, I tell you. I've got to get air conditioning. That's the next thing. We are not El Dorado, says Lord Carbarkin. Our streets are paved with chicken bones. Don't really get that joke. Saihat, I'm 88. I was at a transit camp on Salisbury Plain. It was converted into a civvy nick to take the overflow from the prison estate. Rolleston camp could again be brought into service again. Good point, Si. Thank you for making it. Oh, some people are saying, well, what if you open these big camps, Farage? People might object to it. I think they might, but not when you tell them it's secure. There were people today at that press conference suggesting people, oh, well, they've moaned and they've protested outside hotels. They'll do it outside Farage's big detention camps. No. Do you know what the difference is? In a hotel, they're getting 4 stars. It costs 157 quid a night. They're getting looked after better than our bloody veterans. That's the complaint. And they can come and go when they want and then get a job with Uber. If they're put into a secure camp with a barbed wire fence, they ain't going nowhere. They'll still get looked after, still get fed, still get watered. They'll probably still have a PlayStation. But they won't be on our streets, which is where they are at the moment. But all these twats at that press conference, the uber liberal journalists, ooh, it's Farage. It must be a terrible idea. He's Hitler. That dopey bird Narinder was saying he's Hitler. He's not Hitler. He just wants to put us first. Chopper MK50, YouTube. I can't believe how many people are calling in today. We need to make it possible for the immigrants to declare who they actually are with all their details at the Calais port. Then we'll consider whether we want them or not. If they choose a dinghy, it's a mandatory no. I agree with you. What's this? Somebody's... Oh, Matthew Davis. You're too kind. I just said to him, if you think it's that good, donate something. And you know what he's done? He just whacked in a £5. Matthew, thank you. He's just pressed that little $sign on the screen. I really appreciate it, Matthew. Thank you. Joseph Rivera. Anyone who migrated to any country and commits crimes automatically forfeits their right to be there. And no, not the 3-strike rule, 1 as in 1 strike. Well, I think that's what he was saying this morning. I think the other thing he said this morning, which was really interesting, was, the Australian system? You don't get any national health there until you've paid in for 3 or 4 years. I'm not exactly sure how many years, but that's how it should be here. You shouldn't be able to just come and take. That's not how it was set up, was it? Anyway, Farage is going to have his work cut out for him, stopping the lawyers putting a spanner in the works because they're raking in many millions from taxpayers defending illegals arriving here. Well, yeah, that is why he has to sort out the ECHR and the human rights as his first job. Carl Eves says, all right, John, it's a big job, but it needs doing. Without the threat of reassessing claims, you just watch all the people clamouring to get in the next 4 years. Carl! You're getting it round the wrong way again. Arse about tit. It won't be 4 years. The pressure is building so massively, and Starmer ain't going to last more than 6 months. Then who they're going to replace him with? 3 gaffs. Angela Rayner? I don't think so. Andy Burnham, who said he's worried about the flag of St. George this weekend because it has certain connotations. No, it has no connotations, you prick. It's just got the connotation that it's the English flag, and we love it. And we love England, and we love Britain. We're not racist. We just love it. So, Carl, back to you. It will be a free-for-all, and every Tom, Dick, and Abdul will take advantage. We can't risk that, John. Carl, you're just wanting too much. Sometimes just relax back a bit. Relax back a bit and see what Farage is doing. We don't have to agree. I might be wrong. We'll see. How long have I done already? I'm absolutely knackered. 40 minutes, and there's still thousands of people wanting to get their say. So just hold on. I'll get to you in a moment if I can. Let me just take a bit more of my agenda that I wanted to talk about. You lot have just nicked it all. So is this Farage's path to power? Is he already there effectively? Yeah. And we've been hearing passionate views like me and Carl Eves, one of my regular listeners, long-term listeners. We don't agree on it all. We never will. But I do want us to keep our criticism in check, because the full might of the establishment is going to come against Farage and Reform. The full weight of it. Because they don't want change. They were quite happy the way it is. If you're enjoying what I've said, please subscribe to John Gaunt TV. It's free. And if you want to give some money, donate some cash as well. That's a separate issue. But so that you never miss the show, make sure you subscribe. Because look, I've done an extra one today. Loads of you have found it, and loads of people will watch later. Brilliant. Where should we go next? Redbridge Hotel, says Lisa B. Apparently, an illegal Somalian was on a YouTube stream, could speak proper English, reckons only been here 3 weeks, and asylum accepted, same as half the hotel. I wouldn't believe that necessarily. It can't be done in 3 weeks. It can't be. And I know human rights lawyers, Lisa. So be careful of some people just trying to stir up the shit, because we don't need it. You don't need to stir it up. We don't need to lie. It's bad enough as it is, love. Farage hit the nail on the head when he said even some of the liberals are coming around to deporting them when they can't walk down Bond Street without being robbed of their watches and phones. It's absolutely true, that. You're right. Where are we going next? I'll tell you where we're going. My two flags are flying high and are staying put, says Jackie Ward. Well said, Jackie. And here's Star Taylor. I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but Star Taylor donated £10 via YouTube by clicking on the dollar sign today. I really appreciate it, Star. I hope you can afford it, but thank you. Your support is so important to me. Joseph says, I reckon there's nothing Starmer can do now to save his miserable arse. I agree entirely. What would happen to the UK if we ignored the ECHR and just got on with it? Would we get a penalty charge notice? With a reduction if we paid within 14 days? Andy George, go to the top of the class. I love your humour. You're absolutely right. They do jack all. Hey? They're about as much use as a chocolate fireguard. They're just, you're very, very naughty. It'd be like Monty Python. They've come out with the feather dusters. Oh, no, not the feather dusters. Just yeah, I've had enough. We want our country back. That's what we voted for. When Reform get into power, first leave the ECHR and second scrap net zero. Graham, you're right, but that's not on the top of the agenda. If you look at all the polls this weekend, what people are concerned about is illegal immigration. They're pretty concerned about legal immigration as well. But it's illegal. That's the first job we need to sort out. And I don't want to hear of another rape or another sexual assault of our girls. I do not want to hear it. Do you? By a foreigner? I don't. That's not to say, as the Liberals will say, well, what about all the paedophiles? Most of them are white British. Yes, of course, the majority of the population's that. But we don't need to import any more then, do we? Starmer seems oblivious to the hatred that is growing for him in this country. Every decision he has made has been detrimental to the well-being of our country. I despair, John. I really do. Correct. I'm with you 100%, Graham Hatton, AOR Guru. And there's the donation from Matthew Davis on the screen, $4.99. That is brilliant. That's 15 quid we've had so far. I wonder if we can get it over 20. Don't ask, you don't get. We only campaign against criminals. That's who we want deported, in hope that it will be a deterrent to grooming gangs and traffickers. Well, I'm campaigning about people, look, the moment you come into our country without being asked, you're a criminal, right? But if you mean big criminals, yes. But otherwise, I find it's a bit confused, your comment. If Reform get elected, they'll have to form an alliance with the Tories. No, they won't. The Tories are finished. Any remaining Tories that are any good are going to be joining Nigel in the next couple of weeks, in my humble opinion. I don't think he needs to go to any Tories, and I certainly don't want an alliance. They're clueless. Although I'd give Kemi a due. She's saying a lot of what he said today was her party's ideas. That's for other people to check out. Even in the middle of nowhere, in the countryside where we live, someone has painted a George cross on the mini roundabouts. I love the way that they're getting. I love the way the mainstream, uber liberal media are getting worked up about that. I think it's funny. I don't agree with painting it on signs, by the way, like country park signs. Don't do that. Because those signs are good. They tell you about nature, tell you about what's happening in your neighbourhood. Don't want that. But the roundabouts, I'm sure it's naughty and it's illegal, but personally, I can't get too worked up about it. And seeing our flag everywhere, I don't know about you, it gives me a lift. It gives me a little lift. Where did I go the other day? I went to Leamington Spa, and there was quite a few there. It just gives you a lift. And it'd be much better if we did that more often. I told you before what I think. Flag on every public building, St George and the Union, or in Scotland, their flag. And then by the same, and in Ireland and Wales. And then by the same token, the flag should be in every single classroom in the country. We should be proud of our flag. Proud of it. Not just when we win races at the Olympics or we win a cup. All the time. And there is nothing wrong with our flag. If you don't like our flag, that's my view. Lord Carbuck, and I'm stopping now, by the way. Another £5, and you can have some fish and chips for tonight's tea. £5? Oh, yeah, 20 quid for fish and chips. Yeah, you're probably right. Well, that ain't going to happen. Mark Devon, I don't think so, somehow. I don't know what that means, Mark. Oh, it's from Steve McNeice. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, thank you for your comment. Right, that's me done. That was a good show. That was enjoyable. That was rumbustious. Is that a word? That was lots of comments. And it was also 47 minutes long. And if you haven't donated, does that make you feel a little bit guilty? I only asked the question. If you do want to support me, it's www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. You can buy a coffee or a beer. They start at £5. Or come on here, click the little sign, the little dollar sign, and donate something here as well. That'd be useful. Thank you very, very much indeed. Oh, what's this? I see now. Mark in Devon. He says, flying flags is good for our mental health. It lets us know we're not alone. And Steve McNeice was arguing with that. Well, I'm going to side with you, Mark in Devon. I think it's good. I think the flags are good. Just gives you that little lift. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. I wonder whether shops will start putting them up. The first supermarket to go big on this will get a massive surge in customers. Don't you think? If a supermarket said, look, we're not against immigrants, we're all for all immigration, but we believe in our flag and we believe in Britain and we believe in England. I think if they did that, honestly, the sales would go like this. Did you see that pub? Don't get me wrong. I'm not totally on the side of the protesters. They wanted to go in there and the woman wouldn't let them in and all the rest of it. And there was a big row. And then even the protesters started using really abusive language. So it was 6 one, half a dozen the other. But a pub not letting you in because you've got a Union Jack flag with you, or a Union flag, should I say, or I think that's disgusting. But I think the first supermarket, that's a marketing idea. That's my marketing idea. Paul says, great speech by Nigel. It certainly was, Paul. Thank you for that on X. Cy Hat, you superstar. He's given a super sticker here on YouTube, $4.99. Probably did it on an Apple, so it was a £5. But thank you, Steve. Every single pound helps. It really does. And Cy Hat, then he's put a comment. Have you chippy tonight, John? I don't want a chippy tonight. I'm having tuna tonight out of a can. Not. I don't. Are you a bit of a pleb like me? I much prefer tuna out of a can. It's like salmon. Do you remember when we used to have salmon on a Sunday afternoon, and it was a treat out of a can? And then it got really expensive, so you couldn't have it. So we all moved to tuna. But I've always preferred that to, and I've had proper salmon. I like smoked salmon. Like you can have for breakfast sometimes if you got enough cash. So you probably haven't had that for years. But poached salmon and that, I don't mind it. But I'd rather have it if we can. I think I'm just a working class pleb. So I'm having tuna tonight with a drop of salad. I think that'll do me. So thank you for that. Had a brilliant show. Really enjoyed myself. Thank you to everyone who's contributing financially. It's really important. Don't do it if you can't afford it, because I know times are hard. But if you can afford it, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. And if you want to do it on YouTube, you know what to do. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to move the show, I think, to 6 o'clock, unless a lot of you object. I think it'd be better at 6. Oh, here we go. I mentioned little things and it gets you lot going. How about salmon salad with boiled potatoes? Yes, I do like that. Yes, you're right. Pilchards on toast. I haven't had pilchards for years, but I don't mind them. I like sardines. They're the same thing, aren't they, basically? Well, pilchards are from Cornwall. I tell you what I like the most. I was watching, was it Rick Stone? One of those programs. And they were doing kippers. Arbroath Smokies from Scotland. Oh, man alive. Kippers. I could live on kippers. They are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And so good for you because they're a so-called greasy fish, aren't they? And especially if they've been smoked without any dye in them and all the rest of it. And they're just great. Amiga, whatever you've got to have. I don't like using that word. I used to have an Amiga watch. You may have noticed. I flogged it. It had to go along with the family silver. Anyway, I'm done. I shall see you tomorrow at 6. At 6. Although, to be honest, if there's a big burning story, I might do it earlier. Side Hat says, I'm a pleb like you, John. Army food came in cans. There's nothing wrong with canned food. Nothing wrong with it at all, my friend. Anyway, I love that line by Pope, brought up on a diet of broken biscuits. That's that one about, shall we meet up in the year 2000? He had some good lyrics, Jarvis Cocker. And just reminded me of going with my mum to Woolies down in the precinct in Coventry. We used to always buy broken biscuits on a Saturday. It was pick and mix. And then if we're lucky, we go to the market and we could have pick and mix sweeties. And then you wonder how I turned diabetic. I'll see you later. Keep an eye out. Don't forget to subscribe to John Gaunt TV. That's free. Then you'll always know when I'm doing one. A show, I mean. Tell everyone about it. Spread the word. You're my biggest piece of publicity. And thank you to Jackie. She sent me the love hearts. That's very kind of you. I'll see you soon. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.